yoga instructor. Stress reduction reduces our connection to our intuition and our natural wisdom by using a blend of ancient and modern tools and simple practices. Drake teaches his clients to ground themselves in their deeper power and subtle awareness, allowing clarity, resilience, kindness to flower. In this way, clients access inner resources that ground and center them even as the world changes. Lake Harriet Spiritual Community, please help me welcome Drake Powe.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I am so delighted to be back here again. So thank you. And you know, any of you have seen me on several occasions. I love bells. First of all, I love spoons. All right? I mean, I have mallets too, but I also like spoons. I'm not talking about metal spoons. I'm talking about wooden spoons. I mean, just think about this. You know, these are the types of things that make a difference. Think about back in your whole life, your history, all the wooden spoons you have that go all the way back, and it soaks in the energy of people from the past. So I'm going to ring the bell. I'm going to ask you to listen carefully. So here we go. Let's do that again, one more time. Now I would ask you to take a nice deep breath in. Big sigh, make an ah sound. Ah. And just feel that. Already we've changed. So I'm so happy to be here today, and I'm happy to be here because I'm in celebration. I want to share this celebration. I want to celebrate with you. I want to celebrate kindness today. I mean, I'm talking about let's celebrate kindness. I mean, what better time to celebrate kindness than right now? If you were in the desert and there was somebody who had dry, parched lips and they were just so thirsty and you had water and you came to them and you just gently gave some water to them, you know, what an amazing kindness that would be. If you were in the desert and you were at an oasis and you had this beautiful, clean water coming out of the ground, what a celebration you would have to have this access to good, clean water in the midst of a desert. That's what kindness is. So I want to celebrate it, not like soda crackers where you're like, no, I'm talking about like an orange where you take a bite and the juice explodes in your mouth. That's the type of kindness I want to celebrate. Yeah, I am a very, very disciplined person. And so this morning I was up, I did my meditation. I get up at 4:30 in the morning, I did my meditation. I walked for 3 miles. And I was out there walking, and the moon was just so unbelievable. Did anyone see the moon? Yes, it was amazing, just in its fullness. It's amazing to kind of be in contact with what the moon really means for us. Just think about how many things the moon really means to us. The tides, romantic nights, mysticism, intuition, rhythm. The moon is so profound. And in its wholeness, the full moon has always had an incredible influence on humanity. The full moon means something. And part of what the full moon means is wholeness. That's part of what the moon means, it's wholeness. That fullness, when you embrace all sides of yourself, you're stepping into a sort of self-kindness. And so I'm really encouraging that. So when we're talking about kindness, I think we need to explore it. Don't just assume you really got it. You know, every once in a while, look at it again. It's like looking at words. I love words. If you look at the word respect, re means to do again. The spec is the spectacles. It means to look with fresh eyes. We want to look with fresh eyes. So what does it mean to be kind? Well, first of all, the word kindness comes from kin. Family. I don't know if you notice it, but there's a lot of families that are in conflict. So we have to step on another level of what it and go beyond that, all the way to the level of compassion. Kindness starts with compassion. And I want to suggest that we have to start with self-compassion before we can radiate that compassion into the world. Self-compassion. It's an amazing element when we really step into it. Let's do this real quick. Let me ask you to do this. Okay, first of all, I'm going to ask you to practice kindness right now. We want to step into kindness by stepping into compassion, which means to truly be present. And so just where you are right now, whether it's in this room or at distance, wherever you are, if you're by yourself or if you're with someone else, I'm going to ask you just to take a moment, get into your breath, and take a moment and just look around. Just allow your presence to just expand fully into this room. See it. Slow the breathing down. See the room. And look at the people around you. Breathing nice and easily. I'm going to ask you just right now on the count of 3. Don't look at anyone else. And don't do it like if you're people do this differently when they're in front of a computer screen. And there's a lot of things that we do now that we didn't used to do before computers. I'm asking you to point to yourself on the count of 3, not the way you do in front of a screen, but the way you do when you're in front of somebody. So on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. Everyone at the count of 3, point to yourself. Everyone. Point to yourself. Now I'm going to ask you just to look around and see where everyone is pointing. Every person in the room is pointing the same place. Everyone in the room is pointing right here. They're not pointing to the left where the actual pump is. They're pointing right here. And when people are making meaningful gestures, they often gesture to this point right here. That is the space that we have to come to for kindness. We have to come to that center point and radiate compassion out, and so that we're able to get it into the world. So just be aware of this space in here. Now I'm going to ask you just to, we point to ourselves, this is where I am. This is where I am. That's where you are. It's not a mistake. Now just imagine we're all in some kind of major helicopter above the building or wherever you are, just breathing. Now imagine you're looking down at this building, this incredible building, this amazing energetic space. It must look really cool from above. I know it looks really cool from down here. But if you were to ask yourself, if you're in the room and you ask yourself where you are, you would point right here. But if you were above the building and ask yourself where you are, you'd point down at the building. I'm right down there. Right? If you were higher up, if you're above the continent, you would point down to the American continent. That's where I am. If you were higher still at the planet, you'd be pointing at the earth. I'm right there. All the way out. The moon is getting smaller. Now you're at the solar system. You're pointing back. I'm right there. So as far as you go back, you keep pointing back. You're pointing at the Milky Way galaxy. I'm right there. If you get bigger and bigger and bigger and you point to yourself, eventually you're pointing at the whole universe. I'm right there. So when we're in that space, that expansiveness, we're in that relationship to stillness and into an internal kindness. So we want to be aware that we are so big and so important. So important for us to experience this real great depth of what it means to truly learn to care for ourselves and then radiate it outwards. We have to find a way to bring all sides of ourselves together, not just when you're at your best days. I want to suggest to you that you, on your days that you felt the worst days of your life, you deserve love just as much those days as any other day of your life. We deserve kindness. And we deserve it right now. And by having compassion for ourselves the way things are, by having compassion with ourselves with the challenges that we're facing, that's how we can create a difference. We learn patience. We learn to slow down, to speed up. We learn to say yes, not just like a reluctant yes. I know a lot of us had really difficult childhood experiences. You know, it's hard for a kid when people don't really want that child around. Right? I want to suggest that we want to be in that position to an exuberant and enthusiastic yes for this time that we're in. This is the perfect time for us to bring kindness to the situation, for us to use kindness as a way of life every single day. Every single day, moving with this bubble of kindness and noticing people being kind to each other and encouraging that. Noticing when people are holding hands and encouraging that. Finding ways to connect with how often people are really, really nice. Yes, we see all the conflict that's going on. But we want to build that in a relationship that expands rather than contracts. And so I want to say that kindness is so very, very important. And it comes from us saying yes to what is, by us actually accepting the challenges that we're facing and realizing that there is a lot of really great things happening right now. And one of the great things that's happening right now is community like this. It's a really tremendous element to be in spaces like this where we're connecting with each other and saying yes to each other and finding ways to inspire each other and find strength from that inspiration. So kindness, compassion, joy, really adding joy to the stew and coming with the final element that I think is absolutely pivotal, which is positive indifference. Positive indifference. Does anyone know what that is, positive indifference? Positive indifference is like the sun shining in every direction at once. Positive indifference is unconditional love. Positive indifference doesn't have worst case scenarios even when you do meet a worst case scenario. Positive indifference says, I love me today no matter what's going on. I love that Beatles song. Actually, it's written by my least favorite Beatle, but my least favorite Beatle wrote my very favorite Beatles song, which is Let It Be. Let it be. When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, singing songs of wisdom. Let it be. That's kindness in action. And, I just want to open the conversation to you. What does kindness mean to you? So I want to suggest to you, kindness starts with compassion. And then once you have compassion, kindness is active. Kindness is an actual activity. But I want to just open the floor, and then I want to do some things to kind of open ourselves to active kindness. But I want to ask, does anyone have anything of their experience of kindness? What does kindness mean to you? Is it important? How do you activate kindness? Just curious. Does anyone have any statements for us along those lines? Is kindness important? I think it's... Were you going to say something?
Sure. First, wait for audio because we do want to hear your stuff. It's a tough, vague question. Mm-hmm. Yes, kindness is important to me. Mm-hmm. And I think we'd all nod.
Yeah, and so what I'm saying is that kindness is not something that happens to you. It's actually something that you have to intend. You have to have some idea of how to create kindness in life in order to experience it more. And one of those ways of creating kindness is to ask yourself questions that stimulate kindness on a regular basis. Asking positive questions creates that relationship to kindness. When you are more calm, more confident you're going to find that kindness is easier for you to access and actually easier for you to find. So asking yourself positive questions, playing games like the gratitude game, saying 4 different areas of gratitude that you're grateful for. So let's do some practice right now to stimulate some kindness. I'm going to ask you right now, every single day, to do 2 things to wake up kindness in your life. Every single day, soothe your nervous system. Calm and soothe your nervous system every single day of your life. And every single day, focus on where you're trying to get to rather than where you're trying to get away from. People are less kind when they're afraid, right? And when we're afraid, we tend to focus on what we fear and stimulate that as a manifestation. I often tell the joke about when I was learning how to ride a bicycle, and there was 99.9% space and 0.1% mailbox. And I managed to hit the mailbox, right? So what I'm saying is that when we are stimulating fear throughout the day, what we're actually doing is making it harder for us to get through the day. So we want to do things every single day that calm and soothe the nervous system. And it doesn't have to be much, but it becomes a super effort because it's consistent. So if you wouldn't mind standing up, if it works for you, you can also do it sitting down. But if you wouldn't mind standing up, every single day I want to ask you to activate your posture. So the feet are hip width, chest is up, breathing. Start doing backward easy circle. So we really experience kindness when we experience stillness. Backward easy circles. Now the arms are up, thumbs are up. You can turn sideways if you like. Backward easy circles. Feel the back of your shoulders. Your emotions get trapped in your body. Now let it go. Hook the fingers on either side of the clavicle and stretch the chin up, open and close the mouth. Angle it one way, easy, and then angle it the other way, nice and easy. Active core, interlace the fingers. Come behind the head and gently stretch easily through the back of the neck. Angle it one way, and then angle it the other way, nice and easy. Let it go, breathe. Now the left arm is dangling. Bring the right hand up and over and just gently loosen up the side of the neck. Let the arm dangle. Let it go. Other side. Now this next movement is no mistake that it's in yoga, sun salutation. So the feet are hip width. We talked about the moon. Now let's focus on the sun. Now the palms are out. I'm going to bring my shoulder blades nice and tight. I'm going to bring my tips of shoulder blades in the back pocket, ears over the shoulder. My chest and face are going towards the sun. Now let it go, breathe. Exhale, shoulder blades tight. Put the tips of shoulder blades in the back pocket, ears over the shoulders. I'm literally opening my heart. Let it go. You have compassion when you can open your heart. Shoulder blades tight. Put the tips, shoulder blades in the back pocket, ears over the shoulder. We're physically opening our heart. Let it go, breathe. I'm going to grasp my right wrist. I'm going to firmly pull it down. I'm going to angle my head over towards the left. Just feel it out. Grasp the left wrist. Bring it down. Feel it out. Other side. Just feel it out. Breathe. Now I'm going to make goalposts with both forearms. Rotate the forearms back. Bring the chest up. Shoulders, ears over the shoulders. And let it relax. Breathe. Again, goalposts, rotate, chest up, ears over the shoulders, and let it release, breathe. We're going to do just one more movement before this. We're going to rotate, chest up, ears over the shoulders, and let it go. Now, one of the things that happens when we're having a lot of stress is our head begins to stick out. So be aware, want to have that chin. I'm going to have my chin come forward, come all the way back, use my finger to guide it deeper, relax the neck and shoulders. We want to realign that. The hand is underneath the chin. Come forward, come all the way back. And release, breathe. One more time. Come forward and come all the way back. Okay, let's have a seat again. So our emotions get trapped in our body. When we feel that we are in an unkind place or don't feel safe, we start feeling trapped in our body. So I'm going to bring my right hand on my left shoulder. I'm going to see if I can put my right ear on the front of the right shoulder. Just feel it out. Now the left hand is on the right shoulder. See if you can place your left ear on the front of the left shoulder. Feel it out. Now let it go. Now another thing that happens when we're in judgment, and that's one of the things that happens when we become unkind. Judgment and shame block us from kindness, not just externally towards people out there. The more judgment we have for people out there, the more fractured we get in here. So we want to keep that rib cage moving. Now the forearms are up, palms are up. Bring the chest up high. Press the elbows in the back of the chair as the chest comes up nice and high. Now let it relax. Breathe. Now feel how your rib cage is shifting. Let's do it again. Chest comes up. Press the elbows in the back of the chair. Inhale. Exhale. Chest comes up. Press the elbows in the back of your chair. Now let it go. Now we just want to feel our face. Just feel your face for a moment. You know, there's that old saying that, you know, used to say 50, man, I'm going to say 60, that at 60 years old, that your face is the face that you've earned. Right? At one point, you're like 23, you got lucky. Whatever you got lucky. But at 60, your face has been taking on the same expressions over the course of a lifetime. If you have a bright, shiny face, your face kind of easily goes into it. And some people, you know, you can kind of see their face sometimes. right? So we want to train our face. We want to recognize that your judgment for yourself, for others, that grimness gets trapped in your jaw. So I'm going to ask you to take a lion yawn, not a small yawn, a lion yawn. Take a deep breath in, lion yawn. Oh, yeah, that was beautiful. That was beautiful. Now just breathe. And notice how you're not as contracted. Lack of kindness is a contraction. It's a closed heart. Kindness is an openness. Your whole energetic system is more open right now. Now I'm just going to ask you to activate another process, and then we're going to, touch base. But I'm going to ask you now just to be aware. Now just be aware of your breathing. What happens when we become unkind is we become unconscious. If we're really present, we are automatically kind. It happens. Your presence and kindness go together, like peanut butter and jelly, right? Now slow your breathing down gradually. Tongue is in contact with the roof of your mouth. Gradually slow your breathing down. Do it consciously. Now drop awareness all the way into your lower abdomen. There's an inch below the navel, half an inch in. It's called the hara. Slow your breathing down. Drop awareness into the hara and just notice that you're automatically enjoying more. Now, when you are not kind, you are having tunnel vision. When you open yourself up, you become more kind. Slow the breathing down, drop awareness into the lower abdomen, and just notice subtlety. Be aware of the size of the room. Even if you have your eyes closed, you have some sense of the space. Now, there's the sun above. We also have the sun within. That's that spot that we pointed at. It shines in every direction at once. You shine from your heart. That's the energetic heart. It's like looking at the sun shining, but not yellow light, white light shining out. You shine from your face and your heart. Slow your breathing down. Drop awareness into the hara. Notice subtlety. Your ability to notice subtlety in the midst of intensity is called self-mastery. And right in the center of the chest, that heart is shining, I am. That's where it's at. I am. Slow the breathing down. I am. I am. Let's take an easy breath. Now make the ah sound. Ah. Let the breathing come back to normal. Eyes opening. So that is what when we're doing that, we're opening up, we're creating our relationship to kindness. Now we want to create a relationship to kindness that allows us to live with open hearts, but not be always in danger of being damaged because we're open-hearted. And so by learning how to open our heart, we actually, at that point, really need to practice resilience. And resilience is that ability to notice subtlety in the midst of intensity. That's what the word resilience means. Re means to do again. Zilliance means to notice excellence that other people miss. It's really called mindfulness. So it's important for us, if we're going to live in an open-hearted way, that we also develop mindfulness. Right? Now, right after you do that practice, as I said, every single day we want to do something that calms and soothes the nervous system, which is what we just did. That was, by the way, we did the posture series. So I encourage you to go on my YouTube channel, which is called Touching the Edge, and just put in the posture series. It takes about 2 minutes to do. And then after that, we did the de-escalation template. We slowed our breathing down. We dropped awareness in our lower abdomen. We opened up our awareness and noticed subtlety and connected with that I am. When you do that, and I want to encourage you to practice that regularly, we want to have the ability, kindness is also sometimes having the ability to access this when you're in the midst of conflict. We want to have the ability to calm ourselves when someone else is wanting to be in conflict or when there is conflict. So that de-escalation template works for that, right? Now, after we do that, that's a great time to ask yourself some positive questions. So I would like to ask at least 4 people, a question. First of all, how did that go for you? But then I want to ask you what is called the gratitude game, and I'm asking you to bring the gratitude game into your life. So anyone at all, how did it go for you? Can we get a volunteer? I think,
Ella had a question that got answered in your thing. Ella, what was that? Articulate that for us.
My question was, what are the most effective ways to calm your nervous system? And so the postures that we did, that's one way to calm the nervous system.
yes.
Do you have any other suggestions,
Well,
especially when you're in conflict with somebody?
So the question is, what are the best ways to calm the nervous system? The best way to calm the nervous system is to get to know yourself. Because it's kind of like saying, well, what's the best food to eat? You know what I mean? It really depends on your taste. What's the best way to learn? We all learn differently. So one of the first things we do is we gradually develop the ability to kind of pay attention. Now, there are some things that are going to work for most people. Activating your body, the posture series is a great one. The de-escalation template. It's kind of like this. You don't wait for a fire to do a fire drill. Right? Like, okay, let's practice this now. There's a fire going on, okay? You know, so the de-escalation template is very, very simple. And again, you can find it on the YouTube channel. You know, slow your breathing down, drop awareness into your lower abdomen, open up awareness. When there's a conflict, and especially when someone wants to be in conflict with you, they want to grab your attention. When you open up your awareness, you are actually energetically shifting the balance so that they're not in charge of your focus. So slow the breathing down, drop your awareness into the hara, notice subtlety, and say the phrase I am. And even if you just remember to say the phrase I am, you will, that automatically gets you to your base self, which releases the judgments that are actually what we call beliefs. So thank you very, very much. Yes?
Yeah, and I think you're going to come back to what you were just talking about, but in the moment, I can be kind to people for whom I have no history, the cashier or this or that. Kindness comes easy.
Mm-hmm.
You have no history with them. In the moment, how do you practice kindness in people for which you have history and preconceived things? And it's more difficult. And you've kind of covered this, but in practicality, how might you apply that?
Okay, well, here's a couple of things. So first of all, I want to tell you that I'm delusional, okay? But I'm delusional, but it's working for me. All right? It's working for me. I am concerned about people who are delusional who don't know they're delusional. Those are the ones I'm concerned about. I have a positive delusional process. So what I'm saying by this is recognizing, again, the power of words. Part of my delusion is that you're actually really important, like super important. When I was coming up, and again, I was coming up in a situation where I was under such dire straits. I was coming up in a situation where I had no resources and no support. So me right now, I feel like I'm doing great. That kid was my hero. And so, what I'm saying is that what I realized, and for me, what really happened was that at an early age, I read what the Buddha and Jesus both said, you too can do what I have done. I just believe that stuff. You too can do what I have done. Meaning, there are certain sects of Buddhism that say that you are the Buddha. And all I'm saying is that if you really took that on, you are the Christ consciousness. If you really took that on as a reality, then it really ups the ante. You're like, okay, actually, it's like being a king. It's like being a great king or a great queen. You can't afford to fly off the handle the way other people would. And so what I'm saying is that when you're sitting back in the seat of this, we exist on multiple levels at the same time. And so when you're sitting back in the seat of pure awareness, which is I am, you're able to see multiple levels at the same time, meaning that you're able to see the drama at the level of the narrative, but you're also able to sit back and experience the whole thing as your life experience. And so what I'm saying is that I feel that we want to live as though us coming to deep, deep peace is something that's going to help all of humanity. And us finding a way to bridge the gap, to be a bridge rather than a wall. And by the way, this is not, we all know family members or have family members that almost everyone in here has a family that has a schism over the course of the election. Right? But I'm telling you, hey, this is a celebration. We were born for this. All that spiritual work that you ever did, it was for this time. So create a template. Slow down, be patient. Don't expect yourself to be perfect. Assess the communication after you had it. So this is very important. And these personal relationships that we all have in our families are part of the way, regardless of how we feel about things, we have to come to a wholeness. Coming back to that wholeness. There's the epic poem of Gilgamesh, right? Sure, it's probably on your bedside table, right? All right, Gilgamesh was a great prince. He was like a superhero, except for he was completely out of control. And so they kicked him out of the kingdom. And so he went out into the wilderness, and he met this guy who was a wild man who was his equal. And this kind of story is in the Bible too. They wrestled for like 3 days. And the whole thing was this idea of coming to wholeness. What I'm saying is that somehow we have to do this as a community. I remember when I was a kid and they brought a projector, and that tells you where I'm at. Okay, I just want to, as an aside, about 10 years ago, I applied for a job, and I called my college and I asked them to send me my transcripts. And they said, oh, well, we don't send those anymore. We do that digitally. And I said, oh, great. And then she said, well, what year did you graduate? And I said, well, 1986. She goes, oh. She goes, those records are in the basement. Right? So I was a kid, and I was watching this. They brought in the video. I mean, it wasn't a video. It was a projector, and it was one of the first suspension bridges. It was rocking like this. And then gradually it began to rock like this. It was in the wind, and then it shook itself apart. So what I'm saying is that when I worked in mental health, I saw people have that experience, shake themselves apart. So what I'm saying is that what we need to do as spiritual people is hold the center. So the mystic rhythm is this. The spiritual life is this. So we create a discipline that we keep referring to, and that discipline creates like a storeroom that we can not get flown off. It becomes a self-kindness. So, thank you. Any other questions or statements?
Awesome. Thank you for waiting.
Back to your earlier question about kindness, and then you were talking about how fear blocks that. Mm-hmm. And I've also heard that fear is the opposite of love. It's not hate that's the opposite of love, it's fear. And that
Go ahead.
It occurs that kindness is the act of love. Kindness is love, but it's the action of love. So when we do this, how do we, and you've showed us some ways, but how do we just make sure we're coming from the heart and not from our own needs? Not from the head, but from the heart.
So number one, I actually don't think that fear and kindness are opposites.
Or fear and...
I mean, fear and love.
You said...
fear and love.
Okay.
I thought you said fear and love.
Yeah.
I don't think that fear and love are opposites.
Okay.
I think that love, when you have... See, that's the nature of unconditional love, is that what happens is I am is unconditional love. And so it's a comfy chair. You can sit back in it and relax. And when you sit back in it, you're able to step back far enough that you get some space. And then, we're able to find that different relationship. So how can we do this? So one of the ways of doing it is understanding words. The word believe. I remember when we got up into our opinions, oh my God. I remember when the opinions got big, late 70s, the talk radio. All of a sudden it's opinion, and all of a sudden it got big. Believe. What does the word believe mean? Be means to be, I am. Leave is actually a word. It means to love. So when you're talking about beliefs, or people are talking about their beliefs, they're not talking about what is, they're talking about what they want to be. They're talking about what they love. They're talking about the world that they want to see come about. That is their beliefs. What I'm saying is that beliefs and reality are not the same thing. So even when we allow ourselves to be and speak about how we perceive things, it doesn't mean that we don't have strong perceptions. And so what I'm saying is your beliefs, what we're here to do is to learn how to get very, very, very present and very, very still so that we learn how to be in contact with our intuition. Your intuition is your authentic self. And so we're here to learn how to calm down so that our intuition begins to lead us. And then once our intuition tells us which direction to go, then we build beliefs that are in that direction. And that's what I'm saying about being delusional. My beliefs are built, and beliefs are like a house that you want to live in. You don't want to build a house you don't want to live in. You don't want to build beliefs that are disempowering. So even the beliefs that you build for yourself, allow yourself to be more kind and allow ourselves, when you have the ability to allow other people to believe what they believe, you become more kind. You don't look, do you have another question? Your face looks like, I tried to sell you a used car. You're like, I don't know about that. Do you have something, you have another question or statement?
I'll probably have to clarify it in my own head how the belief.
So another thing.
How does the beliefs fit with authentic kindness or being authentically kind?
So authentic kindness is a discovery. Belief is a concept. So what I'm saying is you can't make a breeze happen, but if you want to dramatically increase your possibility of a breeze, open the window. You can't make genius occur, but you can create a scenario where genius is more likely to happen. Genius doesn't come out of your prior beliefs. Genius comes when you come up with something that wasn't expected and all of a sudden there's an expansion. You can't predict genius. I remember watching Michael Jordan and I couldn't have predicted what he was going to do. And so genius is what we all have access to. And by the way, genius is creative. So, one of the things I'm very into is what I call nonlinear de-escalation. Nonlinear de-escalation is when you de-escalate someone without them realizing that you're de-escalating them. It's very effective. One of the worst forms of de-escalation is to try to de-escalate someone and let them know that you're trying to de-escalate them. That really upsets people. So what I'm saying is that when you can do something like, for instance, deep listening, sometimes that can bring things into a different space than the preconceived notion is going to have things stuck in. We have to be able to do things that we weren't able to do before. We have to be willing to do something we weren't able to do before. Yes, please.
Alrighty, so I delete my social media and I go back on and I delete it and I go back on, and I just feel like there's so many triggers right now because I think many things that are happening. There's an announcement about somebody who's going to run something coming up who's not qualified, and I'm an idealist. I have these beliefs. It's like, this is going to hurt people. So in those moments, and I don't know if anybody else in this room is feeling that way, what do you do to de-escalate?
Well, first of all, nonlinear de-escalation, when you de-escalate someone without them knowing that you're de-escalating them. So,
no, I'm talking about myself.
No, wait a second. I'm coming to that, though. Okay. What I'm saying is that we have to develop the ability to do nonlinear de-escalation on ourselves. So that, the nonlinear de-escalation always occurs when there's a surprise. It's like a joke where somebody says something really funny. The reason that's really funny is you don't see the punchline coming. Or a scary story. The reason that it works is that you don't see the scare coming. So all of a sudden, oh, okay? So, like an example is, one of the things I suggest for my clients is that you write down a list of 10 state changers. 10 state changers. Your state is the state that's in the back of your mind right now. Could be depression, it could be concern, it could be anxiety, could be, it could be joy, whatever it might be. But we want to develop the ability to pop the bubble of our state. We are bigger than the state that we're in. When we're in the state is like being in a pink bubble. Everywhere you look, it's tinted pink. But when you have a different relationship, it might have the same bubble there, but you're bigger than that. Same bubble's there. And so, number one, we change the scale. It doesn't mean that you don't have whatever is there, but when you become larger, it changes it. And when you develop the ability to pop it, then all of a sudden you have a completely different state. So what I'm saying is not knowing what to do about any of these things. We do know things that we can do. If you improve your relationship with your emotions, you're going to improve the situation. Let's just say that you're at Thanksgiving dinner and someone says something that you find reprehensible. I mean, absolutely, oh my God, I can't believe he just said that. Did you hear what he said? Right? Now, someone dropped a cigarette in the couch earlier in the evening, and suddenly the couch bursts into fire. I want to suggest to you that no matter what you were talking about, the fire that you're sitting on is now the number one priority. The fire that we're sitting on is our own relationship to our own emotions. So what I'm saying is that the choice, and I put this on the video right before the election, the choice is to either become more yourself or less yourself. To either become responsive or reactive. I mean, I grew up, I'm 60 years old. I grew up, the civil rights movement was big for me, to me. Those guys were heroes. Keep your eyes on the prize. I mean, we want to make sure that we're doing it. And so at the same time that we're doing that, we're actually existing multidimensionally. And on another level, we're sitting back and just really doing these things that allow us just to be present. So like, state changers, hot bath with Epsom salt. And make it a ceremonial. Don't just do it. Make it like it's an event, like you're actually doing a sacred act. This is an act of kindness, by the way. Okay? Hot bath with Epsom salt. Walking. I just said I walk an hour every day. So, when you can lower your nervous system and lower your anxiety, it doesn't change the event, but it changes it entirely. I remember Wayne Dyer said, if you put pressure on an orange, you get orange juice. You put pressure on a lemon, you get lemon juice. So what I'm saying is, what he said is that you never put pressure on an orange and get lemon juice. So we have the same events, but if we are confident and calm, we're always going to handle it better. And that makes a difference. It is so important for us to recognize that it's really important that we don't catastrophize or come to conclusions. The sun doesn't decide how far it's going to shine. I was not having a good time. I was not having a good time. I was in this neighborhood. People were spitting on me, doing all kinds of things to me. And I was in third grade. I was getting bullied. And this lady came up to me, and she said, I am seeing what's happening to you. She said, you can always come to my house and be safe. And that lady was a huge hero for me for years, for like 5 years after that. So I'm here at 60 telling you about a story about this person in third grade. That's how powerful we are. So thank you very much. Does that answer it all? And really be working on both levels at the same time. What I'm saying is we want to be working and doing practices that allow us to deal with the fact that opposites can be true. So, thank you. So the light is on. So I'm going to ask you just take a few breaths here. So I'm going to ask you to just take a few breaths. Take a deep breath in. Pause. Hold it. Exhale it out. Inhale. Pause. Exhale it out. Last one. Pause. Let it out. Take one more breath. Make the voo sound. Voo. Breathe. I'm going to ring the bell. I'm going to ask you to listen carefully. You know, and one more thing I want to say to you. You know, this time that we're in, we got this. We got this. I bring my hands together and I bow. Namaste, my friends. Thank you.
Oh, that is wonderful. Mr. Drake Powe, thank you so much. And please do hang out. In the garden room, we print like we have something to prove with flyers of reminders. Drake will hang out and discuss. I still have some questions and things that are, quite an interesting topic, and that's what we're here about each week at Lake Harriet Spiritual Community. Different themes each month, different wonderful speakers each week. Please come and enjoy. And if you're not a member yet, grab a card from the offering bin and fill it out. We'll shoot you an email. These memberships help.
And I just want to say, you know, please check out my YouTube channel. I put up videos there regularly. Check out my LinkedIn page. You know, reach out. You know, I'm about healing circles. You know what I'm saying? We are stronger together than we are separately. So, thank you.
Yes, so true. So true. And at Lake Harriet, let's see, anything else we forgot for our announcements? Check out the website. It's all on there. And you're already here. You're parked. It's a sunny day. Walk down the hill, get a bite, and enjoy the sunshine. We do fund this entire building with your offerings and with our other offerings. It all helps keep the lights on, the plumbing on. The heat is cooking. That's a good thing. I wasn't sure if I should bring a hat today or not as the seasons change. And Mr. Gary is the one that keeps it all together. And please, yes. The work that he's done is amazing. So here's where we would make our offerings to Lake Harriet Spiritual Community. And we thank you for that.
When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. And in my hour of darkness, she is standing right in front of me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, let it be, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. And when the broken-hearted people living in the world agree, there will be an answer, let it be. For though they may be parted, there is still a chance that they will see. There will be an answer, let it be.
So much. Now, if you might raise your hands and repeat after me. God's perfect love, flowing through me, blesses and multiplies All that I give,
I think we should have enough to go around the center section here.
Yeah, as we like to do Lake Hearing, we're going to make a circle around the section here. We're going to join hands, and Mr. Drake Powe is going to send us off with some wonderful, wonderful words.
Come on, have faith. You can do it. You can do it. You can go all the way around.
You can do it.
Have faith.
Okay.
So, one of my great teachers said that living our lives are a form of food. You know, you have nutritional experiences and not so nutritional experiences, but it's important to season your life well. And one of the ways to season your life are what I call speed bumps. So we want to have practical steps that we can take to bring kindness into our life. And one of them is having speed bumps. And you know, when you're often going a little too fast, the speed bump slows things down. And I want to suggest a couple. You say them 3 times in a row. So I'm going to suggest to you a couple of them. So I'm going to ask you to do both of these with me. First one is no shame, no guilt, no judgment. So I'm going to ask you to do that 3 times. No shame, no guilt, no judgment. No shame, no guilt, no judgment. No shame, no guilt, no judgment. Now just breathe. See how that feels. Now when you do a speed bump, you just do it 3 times in a row, and you do it with intensity. You gotta do it like you're on the Broadway stage. You can't do it. You gotta stay like you're in. All right? So right at the first sign that your thoughts speeding up, you leave that negative element, activate a speed bump. And here's another one. Simple. I love my life. I'm going to ask you to do it 3 times. I love my life. I love my life. I love